Hello, and welcome back to episode 3 of Breaking Boundaries podcast. So today we have a very special guest. Not only is it our first guest, but we have Ali Lantos with us. So I'm going to give you the stage, basically. Just give us a little overview of you, and then we'll take it from there.
So I'm not going to talk too much about me because you can just go on my Instagram and have a look. But currently I am 18 and a bit weeks out from my first show of this season. This will be my second season competing. I am a bikini athlete and I will be competing with the UK DFBA again. I will also be competing with Vickers, and then I will be doing a Natural 2 Bros show, which I'm very excited about. For me, that's like the one.
Yeah.
It is really exciting.
When you said bikini, then I was just like, for now. Your bikini.
I need time.
Okay, no, that's amazing. Obviously, you had quite a successful first season, right?
I don't know. I guess I had no expectations going into my first prep. My coach, Vicky, she is very kind of she didn't give me any kind of, you're gonna smash it, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. She just got me there.
Blow up your ass.
No, and I think that was really helpful because it just kept my head on.
I think it's so much better that as well.
I'm very kind of susceptible to like stress getting to me, so I didn't want that pressure at all, and I never had to say that. She just kind of got me to stage, and that was that. So my first show was the UK DFBA Southern, where I won my class, and then I won the overall, which was all very surreal. And at my first show, I was like,
that is sick.
I was like, okay. And then I competed in the PCA Manchester about a month later, and placed second in the bikini, in the junior bikini class, and then my final show was the UK DFBA finals in the October, where I placed 4th in the open bikini class. At that point they didn't have a junior and an open, it was just the open. So I was
I think they only just introduced that last year, didn't they?
So I was the youngest by about 3 or 4 years. So
crazy.
You know what, mate, like I can slightly relate to that because of getting pushed up to athletic. I was actually on stage I think I was 23 when I was first on stage, and the women I was on stage with were around 31. Like the one woman that I made friends with, she was 31, and that blew my mind. I was literally like, oh, okay, so I do have time. I do have time to go.
And the thing is, it's the muscle density of like the age that you are. Like even when I did juniors last year at 2 Bros, but I was 19, but juniors goes up to like 24. So like a lot of the girls still had like 4 years of training ahead of me.
And this is why I decided to take so much time off, because this year I'll step on stage and I would have just turned 20. So I've got the time to, take a year and a half off. Yeah. Whereas if you were at that upper end of the junior class, then you might be a bit more pinched for time and think, can I afford to take a year off from competing?
Yeah, exactly. So again, that actually brings us to the first kind of topic that I did want to touch on is, so you are 20.
I'm 19 right now.
Oh my God, you're 19. That literally blows my mind. How old are you, Loz?
20.
Oh, excellent. So I'm just old. Okay, cool. I'm probably the most immature here, so that's okay. We balance out. But how are you dealing, or how do you think that you're going to deal going into prep with uni, etc.?
Well, when I did my first season, I was doing my A-levels, so I kind of had to balance that. However, I was given like a 3-week diet break when I had my exams, because again, my coach knows how susceptible
she's amazing.
Yeah, and that wasn't even my idea. I just kind of thought we were going to sail through, and she was like, no, you get one chance to do your exams, we're going to just bring calories to maintenance for 3 weeks. I felt great. I could focus, I could do my best. Perhaps if I wasn't on prep, then maybe I could have done slightly better, but
do you have like any regrets about that, or not at all? Do you think
No,
you
not
are
at all.
glad? Okay, cool. That's good. That's obviously great.
Yeah.
Because I know
similar, I guess. I mean, I've got exams in the next kind of 6 to 8 weeks, but after that, obviously term will be over, so it'll just be time to crack on, really, which will be nice, having something else less to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
Your cognitive capacity just plummets, really.
I actually find that I can work better when I'm dieting, because like when I'm fat and I'm in off season, I feel like lethargic and like tired like, all the time. Like it's just like all the carbs. But like when I'm dieting, like I feel, like when I'm in prep, I wake up and I'm like ready to go. And like I'll literally almost like, I don't even have to set an alarm because I'm just so eager to like get up in the morning and get like stuff done. Whereas at the minute, it's honestly a miracle if I get out of bed on time.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so crazy. Like for me, I really did notice quite a dip because I wasn't studying while I was on my first prep. I was just in a job. I mean, I was working in a pharmacy with drugs as well. Like imagine like just giving someone the wrong drug, no stress here. Just take it, it's fine. And no, I can't get anyone free drugs before we get any of that. So yeah, I noticed a lot. Like I just couldn't really concentrate. Someone would be talking to me and I'd just be like away with the fairies.
Yeah, it's that kind of like fogginess and you're just not present. Yeah,
that's what I really found that as well. So I think I personally don't think I would have been able to do my exams and prep. But at the same time, I do hear what you're saying, Loz, where you say that it just gives you that drive, and also that it's such a strict routine, isn't it? And you know as well, you've got so much to do within that day. So
you end up factoring in everything. Yeah.
If you like don't have shit to do, you're like, well, I can do it in an hour, it's fine. But yeah. So I guess that's always like a really good benefit of that.
I'm kind of glad though that I'm not gonna prep until, like, obviously I've got my final year next year anyway, but I'm not prepping next year, so that when I do prep like the year after or the year after that, whenever it is, I won't have any like uni to do. And like especially I couldn't be in like my final year or something in prep, like that'd just be a nightmare.
I was going to say I'm in my first year because I took a year out, so this year it's been a load of shit really, because I've just been doing uni from home. So it's not the same. So I haven't really had much of a first year experience. Not that I probably would have, because
there's flexibility though, isn't there? Like it's kind of good being online that you can do all the things as well. Like I'm kind of dreading going back next year and actually having to go into uni.
Having to socialize, Loz, that's what you're struggling with.
I mean it's been really nice, like just being able to kind of crack on like with coaching as well. It's just been like I've had so much more time to kind of do my own thing that I wish I'd just done open uni really.
You know what, I've spoken to quite a few girls, like, because for me I was a very different person at uni though. My uni experience was very, very different, and I would not have been able to have a bodybuilding lifestyle while at uni. But again, I was a very different person, so that's nonetheless. But I was speaking to someone and they said all because of lockdown, it's almost been a blessing, because they've been able to structure their day around their training and just catch up on lectures when they want to. Whereas when I was at uni, if I did, because I still went to the gym, I would have to have like a full day in the lab or a full day of lectures, which is a fucking load of brain capacity, like you say. Like your CNS is already fucked, and then you have to go train. So, and if you are sitting down all day, like listening and trying to learn, it was difficult. So I don't want to say it's been a blessing in disguise for your bodybuilding side of life, but
it has for me massively. Like, because the thing is as well, it's just the routine aspect. Like I remember in first year, like the day I'd have to train at a different time every day. I'd have to eat my pre in the car on the way to the gym. I remember at times eating meals, like walking to like different lecture locations because I didn't have time in between to eat. And like next year, it's going to be a real challenge doing that, as well as like running my online coaching business, because I didn't have that in first year. But at the end of the day, it's a challenge. and I like a challenge.
You're rise to it. You're fucking rise to
so
it.
I want to get it all done, get it all smashed.
The thing is, you'll always find a way. You'll always find a way, and it's just that kind of first like few weeks of adjusting that you just like, oh my god, and then after that it's just new normal, and then you just get on with it. But it's establishing that new routine and trying to balance everything. But you know, if you've done a prep, you're pretty good at managing your time, so it's so transferable, I think, and you just learn to crack on, just get things done, I think.
Agreed.
Sorry,
I was going to say, I think we should answer some of the questions that we've got for Ali, because I want to talk to Ali about her.
Yeah, cool. That's what I was just about to say. I'm not being rude. I was just looking at the questions. I didn't want you to be like, Hannah, get off your phone. I'm just replying to all my fans. No, it's just I'm looking at them. So we did get quite a few questions, quite a few good questions. So actually, this might be a good way to start, because the listeners might not know about your prep and like why you got into training, but what did inspire you to get into training and competing? Like, was there, because you are quite young, right? So was it like, I've heard quite a few stories of like, oh yeah, it was my boyfriend at the time, or
did you have any sporting background or anything as well?
So I did gymnastics from a very young age, and before bodybuilding I danced competitively. That was like my life since I was about 7, 8. So I started competing with that when I was about 12. So I love performing, but when I'm not on a stage, I'm quite like quiet. I don't know, I'm quiet unless I'm really close to someone, or I get off with someone. Otherwise I'm just like, I don't know.
Same. I'm really quiet.
So quiet, Hannah.
I know, shut up. Honestly, that's the biggest lie I've ever heard come out of your mouth.
But so dancing was my thing, but at the same time I did, you know, just a lot of sport, really, especially in school. And then the first kind of way into the gym for me was I did like Olympic weightlifting at a CrossFit gym. I did that full time. But then I have like an issue with my shoulder. It kind of like pops out and it's just really unstable. It doesn't hurt, it's fine. It's a bit gross. I won't show you. But
party trick.
Literally, it's gross. But it just meant that, and basically I'm not very strong mechanically. I'm not very stable. I can't, basically my shoulder will pop out or feel as though it's about to pop out on those reps where you're really pushing. So I have to be very mindful. And for me, the feeling of the contraction is the most important thing, because I can't, especially with my upper body, I can't just push through that, because literally my shoulder's like this and it feels like it's just like about to pop out.
It's almost worse than pain, that really.
So I can't be a dickhead, and I have to be a bit cautious, which is frustrating. So with the Olympic weightlifting, it was all cool, and then I got to a point where I was progressing things, but then my shoulder was not staying in place, and I was like, I don't really want to do myself a big old injury. But through getting into that weightlifting, my physique just changed massively, because suddenly I was a little bit more muscular. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to go for the aesthetics.
Did you find that you were quite responsive to that? Like your body changed?
My upper body just changed. I think that's a genetic thing. But when I started to see the changes, I was like, okay, I want more of this. So then I started more hypertrophy type training. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, but my personality type is, if I find something I'm interested in, I will read and learn as much as I can about it, and then go and apply it. So I was, you know, like watching YouTube, like watching how people trained. This is probably really cringe for you, Loz, but you know, like AJ was a massive influence when I first started training. I was like, oh my God, like natural bodybuilding. Yeah, so that's really sad to say. I'm sure he'll be deeply flattered. But yeah, and I just
ain't listening to this.
Well, he better add 9. So yeah, and then I got myself, well, I trained by myself for I don't know, like a year and a half. My nutrition was just balls, like I just didn't have a clue.
Did you try to stick to like some form of like nutrition plan, or was it just kind of
just very low carbs
and stuff?
Because I didn't, that was
what you thought
I'd seen.
Mate, when I was, I said at uni, it was very, very different. I would have, the Cadbury share bars. I would have one every single day.
Oh,
that was my lecture treat, That's why I was obese. But anyway, we digress. So that follows nicely. If you think you've got like your upper blew up, right? Do you think that in the near future you will be moving to figure? Because that was someone's question. They said, does Ali plan to move up to figure? Her shape would suit it very well.
Oh, well, ultimately, yes, is the short answer there. But I know how little muscle I have in comparison to what I need to have. But I have the time, I'm quite kind of okay with that. But for now, like I need to stay in my lane and stay focused, because like once I've started something, I want to finish it. So I want to turn pro as a bikini athlete. Once I've ticked that one off, then I can move on. I don't want to be like, oh, I'll start this and then
dip my toe here and then go.
That's not me. I have to kind of complete it.
And to be honest, mate, sorry, I just was gonna say, like, if you do give yourself that time, it means that you will come into this category and you will make a fucking impact. It won't be like you're just making up numbers. Giving yourself that time means that first bigger competition, you're gonna blow them out the water,
and I'm okay with having to take 2 years or whatever it is that I need to do to kind of transition between the two. But once I finish as a bikini athlete, I'm not going to piss around with my training, and I'm going to train those muscle groups that potentially right now I'm not really allowed to train as much. So yeah, I know it will be a massive shift, because right now my training is obviously very bikini athlete. I don't really get to train arms. I have like very low back volume. Again, this is because when I first started training in the gym, I did a lot of upper body. I didn't train my lower body, which as a bikini athlete is probably the worst thing that you can do. But I didn't know I was going to compete, so I was just training
doing what you loved
to do. So it's been for me a case of bringing up my lower half, because looking at my stage photos, I just had no density in my legs, but my upper body was quite developed, and it's just a case of not letting my upper body disappear off into not bikini. Not saying that it is, but just monitoring that volume and just adjusting it accordingly, rather than just having a plan that doesn't fit your current physique. I think that's so important.
Does like an enjoyment factor come into that for you, just in the sense of like, do you enjoy the way that you have to train as a bikini athlete? Do you sometimes feel as though you're held back with certain things that you want to do? Because obviously that's a massive thing with anyone's competitive journey. And like for me, the reason why I moved away from bikini was because I wanted to train a certain way and I didn't enjoy it. So the fact that I didn't enjoy it kind of outweighed any of the benefits of anything else. And I also didn't enjoy competing as a bikini athlete as well. So there was no point for me to continue with that. But for you, do you still find that you have a lot of enjoyment like in your training, and that's why you're happy to kind of carry on and like continue with that goal?
Yeah, definitely. I think right now it's at the point where I do still enjoy it, because for me, the end goal is so important as well, especially after my first prep, because I just have this kind of want to get that card at some point. And
unfinished business.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it just so happens that right now, yes, I don't get to do tons of volume with my shoulders or my back, but that's what needs to be done. So I have to suck it up.
Because goal is very important, isn't it? It's a big part of it.
And I know there will be a time where I get to step on stage as a figure athlete, but
I also think you do have a very good bikini physique, in my opinion, because
I just got to keep the lat press.
Not everyone has the physique for bikini. I think it's probably the hardest category to nail. Like, other than obviously like wellness, you have to be like some sort of like god to do that. But
it's like a centaur mix.
Yeah, but like with bikini, like you really have to be shaped and structured for it and have a certain look to you. And I do actually think you look really good in bikini as well, which is obviously super important.
Yeah, for sure. Like I definitely wouldn't have been able to even do my first season as a bikini athlete because I have zero glutes. Does someone want to turn their phone off?
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm literally getting like form clips from my client. I'm trying to turn it off. I'm so sorry. Hang on.
SOS.
Honest to God. Shut up. Okay.
Okay, amazing.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
So someone actually did ask, I would love to compete in PCA, but as a natural athlete, I don't think I would even compare. Why do it? So
there's
I
two
think
prime examples of people that have done it here.
Yeah, I think that's also really like goes straight into the topic that I did want us to discuss in quite a vast amount, because you obviously competed in PCA and I did my only successful competitions were with PCA, which are tested federations. So I think it comes back to your mindset. Like if you are looking at a non-tested federation and you're thinking there is no way I will stand a chance, then you won't. Like that you are already limiting yourself with having that mindset in place. If you're going with the mindset of like, I will be the hardest worker on that stage, then that's all.
I will say as well, like it depends on the class as well. And this is being brutally honest, like the amount of muscle that is required for bikini, you can acquire that naturally. 100%. As for any class, but especially bikini.
Like as an amateur, for sure. Obviously, it goes to the next level when it is, fucking Olympia and that.
But I mean, it's if you have the muscle and you can get in shape, and then you do all the things like your posing, your presentations on point, there's no set reason as to why you can't be successful, especially within the bikini class. Because I personally, I don't think that I looked out of place on that stage.
Hell no.
It was not obvious that I was a natural athlete. I didn't stand out like a sore thumb. Well, I really hoped I did not.
I did. I did, but obviously, again, that was only because it was my first season. I'd never even done an off season, right? Yeah. So I actually still would go into PCA because that, as a federation, I really enjoyed. I don't know about you, I really enjoyed the show.
Yeah,
I thought it was so well run. Like just a whole day within itself was just very enjoyable, and for me, that is just as important as kind of where it can go. So I just, going back to the question of like, why do it? I think you choose what federation down to the criteria that they're looking for. Yeah. If you fit that criteria, like too many people, I believe, are trying to make a criteria fit them, and it doesn't really work that way. Like I went in for NFM, for example. I don't suit that criteria, but now I know, right? So I think if you're going to do it, just make sure that you are going balls deep, you're doing everything within your power to be that best, bring that best physique to the stage. And why not do it? Like, just go for it,
And the thing is, I don't know what it is that people think about when you're natural, you can only look a certain way. If you can diet and follow your coach's orders, and you have a good coach, let's just remember, if you have a good coach, they will get you to stage and you will look brilliant if you adhere to a plan. So just because you're natural, like, why does that suddenly give you a massive disadvantage? Of course, there's factors to play, like genetics, for example. okay, there's not really a lot you can do about that. However, if you do the work, just get on with it. Like genuinely, just stop. Oh, but I'm natural.
At the end of the day, it's your decision to be natural, right? So don't like sit back and say, well, I don't look as good because I'm natural. Well,
use it as an excuse.
Yeah, don't use an excuse.
Diet just as hard.
Yeah, just
taking assistance doesn't make it suddenly just dieting. Oh, I'm not even dieting now. You still have to diet. You still have to do the cardio. Yes, some things potentially maybe a little bit easier, but you still have to do the work.
Yeah, I think obviously there is the vast difference, especially when you go into the figure categories of like, when I diet down, I lose so much size, like a lot. And that is what I do struggle with. Like so many people will say like, you're so lucky you get so lean. I lose a fuck ton of size. And yes, I do get lean, but it's
the trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the only difference, is that they're able to keep a significant amount more fullness, and it just produces a very different look. It's like, I think with like bikini, for example, like you're absolutely fine. There's no reason why you can't turn pro within the IFBB as a bikini athlete if you're natural. But obviously in the other classes, unfortunately, you can't achieve the size and the shape and the fullness of the muscle. And then also in the pro leagues, you just stand out like a sore thumb on stage.
Definitely a time and place for it.
Yeah, but that's why like Two Bros have actually done the natural side, and I think that they'll probably go on to actually well, I think they're actually trying to kind of develop the natural IFBB side. So that there is basically like a non-tested IFBB and a tested IFBB, which is quite cool. But that's why there's the different options, so that if you don't want to do that option, that there's other things for you to do, basically.
Yeah, because they're actually giving out some cards in the November show I'm doing and in October. So there's opportunity to turn pro as a natural, which I think is amazing. And it's just, you know, it says a lot about how the sport has developed and, you know, the opportunities that we're getting now as naturals. You know, that's amazing. You know, like 10 years ago, well, when the bikini division first came about, you know, that wasn't really a thing to turn pro as a natural. So, you know, we're very lucky to now actually be able to do that. So it's a big year, and you know, it's not something that's been possible before. So I feel quite, you know, it's a big year for the sport.
Yeah, it's nice. There's so many different options and different federations and things as well now, which is cool, because at the end of the day, as an athlete, you want to have the most options and opportunities to compete and progress as possible, really. So
does this mean we're going to be seeing you at the Natural Olympia? Yeah.
The Two Bros?
No, UK DFBA.
If I qualify.
Romania.
I'm going.
I've already decided.
I think it's World.
Yeah.
I'm coming along for the trip.
Oh, cute.
If I qualify, then it would be something that I'd do, definitely, because why not?
What do you mean if? Right,
I can't deal with that. The pressure.
To be honest, there was one more question. Could you ever see yourself going assisted at any point? And then we can move on to same.
At I could point.
Yeah.
Well, I've got in my head 19 is too young, personally. I want to say 3, 4, 5 years maybe, but you know, this is only my second season. It's, you know, it's really
exactly
like, you know, 2023 I'm going to do this. I don't know, because this year I'm bringing a much more complete package. I don't know how well I'm going to do or not do, so I don't want to, you know, throw about dates and a timeline.
No, there's no need.
I don't actually know what's going on.
I think that's quite a big issue nowadays, is that people think like, right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give myself 3 months, and within that time, if I haven't grown this amount of time, then I'm going to just hop on, you know. But I think the most important thing that you can ever do is give yourself that time. Like for me, when I start this prep in 2 weeks, I will have done a 17-month off season from when I last stepped on stage. And again, it's only going to be my second prep. Why the hell would I hop on something when I haven't even seen what I've done within that period of time? you know. So I feel like you almost have to give yourself
a chance.
I think it's also a case of just like what are your long-term goals. You know, like if your goal is to compete in the IFBB and you want to go to like the Olympia and that's what you want and those are your physique goals, then like do what you fucking like. But if you want to stay natural and you want to compete as a natural, stay natural, but it's just whatever your long-term goals are, and as long as you're smart and you work hard, then just do what you want.
Yeah, because it's doable to achieve that card naturally. Like it's not impossible, but you know, this will be my first time compete with the two bros. I don't know where I stand, so it would be completely silly for me to kind of
you just don't know though, like you don't know what your goals can change. Like I thought that I wanted to compete in the IFBB as a pro, and even when I decided that I was going to move up to figure, I was thinking I was going to compete in the IFBB. And then I was just like, I actually don't want to go assisted. And then I decided not to, but you just don't know, like your goals can change like that, basically.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. So did you have any other questions, Ross?
Me, I got some absolutely dreadful questions.
Oh.
People on Instagram are really not feeling it today.
I want to hear a dreadful question.
Just like, you know, I say like, has anyone got any questions for Ali? Like, I'd really like some questions for Ali. And then someone just like asks me like just something stupid about like managing deloads, and like I'm just like, I don't care. That's not my ass. That's not my ass.
It's not that much fun to talk about, really, is it?
Oh no. What a stress.
Obviously, it's an important question. I'm not disregarding anyone's question. I'm just saying it wasn't relevant to what I asked. So, you know, did you get any Ali? Because you actually put.
I whacked that story up really late, so I didn't actually. But I was going to say, do you guys have any questions or anything? I don't know, anything off the top of your head?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually, because we didn't get round to it, I don't know what happened, but I want to know how you actually decided that you wanted to compete. Like, when did that happen?
Yeah, I was about to say, and then I went off on a tangent. I think I actually started watching like prep series. And
do you know whose it was?
I think you probably know her, but Kerrigan Pike.
Oh yeah, I used to watch those as well.
She's wicked, and I think at the time she was actually in university, and she was kind of managing everything, and it was just the discipline, because I knew that I did have that discipline, because I feel like some people just have it, and it comes almost more easy to some people just to kind of crack on and just get it done. And I thought, you know, I can see myself doing that, and you know, just kind of immersing myself in the bodybuilding community, I think, and just talking to people. And you know, my first kind of initial worry was, you know, at the time I was 17 and I was like, you know, am I too young to be doing this? And then a few people were just like, you're not too young, you know, you do lack that density, but the shape is there. And I think shape is something that some people, I'm not sure it's clear what it is, but it's just like the flow of your physique, how you're put together, and your shape really underpins what you will look like on stage. Obviously you can build muscle up on a frame, but if your shape and your structure isn't kind of fitting to the criteria, then you know, things are a little bit different. So I had some people that I would consider to be very knowledgeable in the industry just explain to me that I had the potential, and you know, just people believing in me from the start, and you know, pointing me in the right directions. And then I think as soon as prep started, or the very small off season I had with Vicky, I mean, yeah, it was literally like months, and then we were prepping, and as soon as that started, I was in, and that was it. And since then it's just, you know, that's it. Yeah. And I can't really imagine what the hell I'd be doing now, honestly.
I was just about to ask, what do you think you would be doing? Like, because you are at uni, do you think you would have still gone down that route?
Well, a funny story. I was actually supposed to go and study marine biology.
Oh my God, cute.
I had an unconditional, so I was off to go and study fish and whatever. And then I started my prep, and I was like, okay, now I want to study nutrition, and I want to work with people who have like GI disorders and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I think the more involved you get with something, the more you realize what your true interests are.
You can't help sometimes your passion just like finds you. I know that sounds so hippie.
Oh no,
but
totally.
Yeah, so that's so nice though, the fact that you even had that unconditional offer, so you had it there on a plate.
That's what I'd wanted to do for ages.
I think it's really good as well that you realized that and you acted on it, because I applied to do a degree in something that I probably wished I'd done something else. But at the time, like I was like, oh, I don't really know what I want to do. Like I do want to do something in nutrition and I do want to coach, but I'm not sure. And I couldn't make myself go away from something that I'd been so ingrained on doing for so long.
I just felt it was the right thing to do. You know, when you just know and you're like, I'm going to really kick myself if I don't make a change. So I was on the phone to UCAS, and that was a nightmare 2 weeks because, I'd had like a year and a half off after my A-level. So I'd been out of education, and then I was like trying to change my place like really last minute and all this kind of stuff. And it was just a bit hectic, but, you know, I needed to do it. So it was just a case of getting
how was your off season in general? Do you think you had a really productive off season?
Yeah, I do think so. It's been a bit of a learning experience for sure. But I just feel very different going into this prep. I feel much more complete. Like I look at my physique and there isn't this kind of look
imbalance.
I
mean, the fact in my opinion, like anyone that's continued training throughout lockdown, like with home equipment, I'm sorry, but you can fucking do a prep. If you've got that determination and motivation to stand in your garage, stand in your bedroom and train, then you can do a prep.
Never again.
Easy.
I really liked watching your home training though. You know, like sometimes some people put their home training on. I'm like, honestly, I don't want to
like
see my home training.
I got so paranoid that people were just bored. So
I loved it.
I love watching you train.
Yeah. I was there for the stiff leg deadlift.
Those fucking wheel plates though.
Your fucking I had the same plates, didn't I? You had your banded bloody presses.
What is a banded dumbbell press?
Thing is, you train proper hard as well. Like you do proper train.
Because I know that if it gets to the time where I start prep and I know I've been fucking about in my garage, I'm not even prep.
Yeah.
Do it. So do it now, do the work.
Yeah.
Put your big girl pants on, get on with it, and then you can enjoy your prep in a lovely gym. That's what I thought of it. It's just like, just get it done.
Yeah. And
I could piss about in the garage on my own and sing and do all the fun stuff that I get judged on in the gym.
Dirty wine. Yeah, honestly though, that's the same exact mentality that I had to go through, because you had to be like, right, if I have only got X amount of time before I start prep, X amount of time to be in a calorie surplus, like I need to utilize that time because I know I need to grow. Like there was no question about it. So that is very inspirational.
I think like over lockdown as well, it's just been a case of really kind of evaluating what your goals are. And, you know, it kind of shows you how serious your goals are. Because looking at it now that I'm back in the gym, I'm like, you just spent a year training in your garage. Like, you're a bit of a nutter. Do you know what I mean?
Tap yourself on the back.
It's like, I can't believe that I know everyone's done it, but so many people have done that and they've worked their absolute bollocks off for a year in their garage or their front room. And it's just like, you know, this sport means a hell of a lot to a lot of people. And it's quite cool, really, that we've all, you know, cracked on. I mean, I'd love to be able to just go to a gym, but I'm not a pro yet, so I can't do that. But one day, one day when it's another pandemic, and I have a pro card, I can just, pop to the gym. But for now,
I just shimmy off to Dubai like everyone else did.
Oh,
did you do that?
I don't know what you're on about. I don't think I went to Dubai.
Yeah, but what a wicked experience, though.
Yeah, I was just going to say it was pure jealousy. I'm only messing.
Yeah, it was good fun. Like, that was so funny though, that because I remember we sat and like Boris announced the lockdown, and I was like, oh, I was prepared. I was like, I'm just happy to like train in the garage. I'll just do anything. AJ was like, we're going to Dubai tomorrow. I was like, are you joking? He was like, no, we'll go book the tickets now. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I bet it was so shit coming back here.
You what, sorry?
Was it really shit when you came back?
Yeah, I mean, it was, but we went for a month and like.
Was it that long? I didn't realize.
Yeah, we went for a month, and like the first 2 weeks it was like, this is amazing, like especially because like one, I'd not been on holiday in ages, and it was nice to be somewhere that was just like normal. Like we had to wear masks like in public, but to be able to like go to the gym, like, and obviously it was immense that we could like go to the beach every day and all that sort of stuff.
Optimal
like
recovery.
Honestly, it was like I recovered so well. It's like getting naps every day. Like it was nice to shift the routine and do something different. But then like after the 2 weeks, like 3 weeks, we're ready to go home. Especially when like gyms opened at home. Yeah, and it was just like, it's very expensive there as well. Like, we went to we went to Waitrose because I was like, I really want some fire yogurt, because I can't eat, like normal fat-free yogurt. It tastes like sour cream. So we went to Waitrose, and we didn't really like realize how much money we were spending because of like the conversion rates. Like there's no way you can tell like how much you're spending. And suddenly I was like, I'm going to actually see how much we've been spending. And I did like put it into like Google, like what's it called, Exchange, to see how much we've been spending. And a pot of fire yogurt was 10 quid.
Right, be straight
like, swaps that meal out instantly.
You know what protein powder will do? Yeah, it will do.
Fruit and whey.
Whey 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I feel like this is gold dust right now then. I'm just gonna
I forgot you had that meal. Sorry.
I'm a true bodybuilder now that I'm eating whilst doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm too messy. It'd be all over me.
I get really self-conscious when people look at me when I eat.
Mate, I am a mess, like full stop. So what's the difference?
I was going to actually ask you guys, what is roles reversed. What is the strangest prep habit you've done?
Oh my God. Do you have one?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a few actually. Yeah.
I don't think I had any.
I've got a few.
Yeah, give me something to bounce off.
Okay, so this might be known, but I like when I get really deep into the diet, I don't really crave sweet things. It's savory things. So like it got to the point where I wasn't just eating like gherkins, I was drinking the brine. Yeah,
you're dirty.
Yeah, now sort of doing that makes me throw up. But also like
that actually made my stomach flip.
Yeah, no, it's proper not nice. But also just eating alone and being like really like paranoid of like people looking at your food.
Yeah.
It's just like, leave me alone, I just want to eat.
But that's quite expected, to be honest, because how many questions would you get? Like, why are you eating that again? Do you not want any carbs with that?
I thought about this the other day because it's something that I really forgot, and like my routine has shifted like massively in like the past year, like especially since I've like moved in with AJ like, and changed my routine. But like I remember I was living at home for like a lot of my prep, and I used to make my last meal. This is also a weird thing I do. So my yogurt, I used to always freeze it. So I put it in the freezer.
Yeah. I used to do that.
So that it was hard. Yeah. Like, obviously, if I did that now, I think I'd just vomit everywhere.
I was so cold on prep that I had to, every meal had to be hot.
Oh no way.
Put your fire in the microwave.
No, I had to take it out, so it was like real room temperature.
Yeah,
because I was just so cold. Like I have really bad circulation, so like my hands and feet are always like about to drop off. Even in the off season. So on prep, I was just, and I always have hats on as well. I still have to do that because I've got.
Loz never wears a hat.
I feel like the
I'm never not wearing a hat, honestly.
I feel like the fat from my like head just went. And then because I've got rid of my dreadlocks as well, my head feels really like cold.
Light.
Yeah, it really does. It really gave me so heavy.
But hang on, I've not actually finished telling my story. I used to make my yogurt, and then every night I'd take it up to my room. Like my mum would be sat there, and like now I just think I should have like sat and spent some time with my mum. But I used to go, my mum would be like, do you want to watch telly? I'd be like, no. And then I'd go up to my room and I'd literally sit in bed and like eat my last meal on my own.
I've done that for the last 3 years.
Mate, I'm always on my own. So
but I do feel like on prep it is kind of lonely in a way because you have to do all of these things on your own. However, it's quite nice. Like I quite like that because you've always got that internal monologue, right? And you're having to give yourself a kick up the arse because no one
like your own company, I think.
Mate, I'm great. No, I think the one thing that I used to do weird was, so my last yogurt meal, I literally used to make it in layers. But like I'd freeze it like
a little trifle.
Like all separately, right? So I'd get like my berries or whatever, and I'd freeze that bit, and then I'd get my peanut butter and freeze that bit, and then I'd get my yogurt and freeze that bit. Yeah,
just a bit of food focus there.
Yeah, just slightly. But and I'd literally, I remember I'd go like round the outside, like that's how I'd eat the
yogurt. You scrape it. You don't dig that.
Like a Vaseline. You know, when you just keep going around and like that's how I was doing.
I used to because to be fair, like in the last few weeks of prep, all my meals other than pre and post were just like just protein and veg or something. So I'd have egg whites and veg, or chicken or turkey and veg. Sorry, no chicken. And I literally used to get my I used to get tender stem broccoli. It was like only tender stem broccoli because that was like a luxury, and I used to burn it. So I'd put it in the pan, I'd put like garlic, salt, everything to try and give it some flavour. I'd literally burn it so it was like black. Then I'd eat it and literally taste like charcoal, but it was like so hard. It was so hard that it like tasted like a good dense like bit of food. And I look, like when you look back at pictures, like some pictures that I put on of my meals in prep, I'm like, honestly, that's disgusting.
That's a bit grim, that is. I mean, I don't think I've got any other weird ones other than the fact that I couldn't walk around barefoot because like it hurt my feet because
your feet go really skinny.
Yeah,
like loads of my shoes didn't fit me by the end. People don't talk about this. I was talking to
I've got really fat feet. I can't relate. I've got really fat feet.
No, I went from like a 6 to a 5, and then I had to buy loads of new shoes or just use my sister's. Because like my feet just shrunk and they've never really gone back.
Oh no, so mine have come back. Mine have come back. So my fat's just gone back to my feet.
To be honest, I put on my posing heels the other day for the first time when I redid some posing and my feet literally overflow. Like they just
came back. I still got like skeletal feet. It's
just
not
right. It's better than fat.
Maybe obviously your body comp is just on point.
There's no blood supply to my hands and feet, so therefore no fat.
To be honest, the worst thing though is I remember it's like getting on the bike and doing cardio on the bike when you've got no ass.
You just got a strap like
pillow. I used to put a pillow on it. Oh, it hurts so much.
See, my cardio was only Stairmaster. My first prep was 45 minutes Stairmaster fasted, and then 20 minutes on and off sprints post workout, and then 10-minute incline walk post-workout as well.
Do you ever look back and think, how did I do that?
How?
Like
How?
I did at one point. I was doing 45 minutes cardio, fasted. Then I did this is fasted straight after the bike, 6,000 steps with my weighted vest on. Right.
Yeah.
And then I did like 16,000 steps for like the whole it went up to like 18,000 the whole day, as well as like training. And I just look back and like now I like struggle to get like 10,000 steps in, and I'm like, oh.
For me, I just remember like doing fasted cardio on the stairs and just being like so tired that you just be tripping up on the stairs. and because I didn't want to hold on, I would just be like stumbling every
just
and
every
like,
step.
how have I even made it through? Because like my sleep did suffer a little bit, especially towards the end. And so I'd be getting up in the mornings and I was just like, I just wasn't like on, even though I had like my coffee and bits and pieces like that. And I was falling all over the shop, but I'm quite clumsy anyway, but
yeah,
it was,
what, I'm very excited to have a prep now. I like coffee because I
became a coffee addict.
I didn't
and now
COVID made me. I didn't like coffee before COVID, and now I like coffee. So now I can be off my tits on cardio, because I used to have to just make myself be off my tits. So it was hard. It was hard.
I have one last question.
Oh,
I want to ask Ellie. I want to actually ask you how your friends and family like adjusted to you getting into bodybuilding, because obviously you're like quite young and like well, you're the same age as me, but when you're doing something that's very different and you're obviously still living at home and you still have like friends from school and stuff, they don't really understand like why it is what you're doing, and it can be quite difficult. So I just wanted to kind of know how you like dealt with that, or how those people reacted to you getting into bodybuilding and competing.
I would say that with my family, I will make a public apology because I think I was very cranky. But I think it wasn't until they'd come to a show and they'd seen grown men acting like I'd been acting that it kind of was like, oh, okay, so this is normal. And
it is serious.
I'm not saying that me being a bitch at home is okay, but when they saw other people being grumpy and grouchy, then it kind of dawned on them that, okay, this is just the nature of the sport.
What? Nature of the sport to be grumpy?
Well, like absolutely, you know, like at the back end of prep, you're not exactly the nicest person to be around. You know,
I don't know. I'm always a delight, to be fair.
Well, we can't all be as positive as you, Hannah.
No, and I mean, like, especially like in the evenings and stuff, you just want peace and quiet. You just want to be able to kind of wind down, because, you know, your sleep is, you know, your best mate. Yeah. And when your sleep starts falling apart, and then, you know, you just want to be able to have your very few little things that you do have in prep, which is your food, your training and your sleep. You just want those things to be perfect. So I think at first my family, I mean, they've always been incredibly supportive. It's not that they weren't supportive, but I think when they came to a show and saw other people acting how I'd been acting, I think they then became a little bit more accepting. And now, like, my family are so supportive because they know how much work I put in, and they know that that's
how important it is.
Yeah, but I think it's really extreme for like most people to see you. Like my friend, when I went from having an off-season face to having a skull face, they were just like, "Yo, you okay?" Yeah. And you know, even like teachers and stuff, they were just like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is just
mate." Colleagues.
And it's hard because they're only trying to look out for you, and you know, they're potentially worried about your health, but you don't want to be explaining bodybuilding and competing to every other person that walks past you and asks you, oh, why have you lost so much weight from your face? Because I'm 3 weeks out.
And they're like, I don't know what that even means.
And it's just I think you get to the point where you just stop explaining yourself to people, because you don't
smile and nod.
I look much better, don't I? No, I'm not fat face.
Yeah. No, to be honest, I think there is that massive difference, like you say, between supporting and understanding. Like, I was very lucky. I lived with my mom at the time for my first prep. And because it was just me and my mom as well, there is probably a different dynamic between that and like a whole household, you know. So my mom just basically kind of let me do what I wanted to do. However, we had multiple conversations of like, but are you okay? Like, just to make sure, like, I will support you, but are you okay? And then when she actually came to my first show, she then saw everyone else kind of like that, because she'd seen me so lean. It was kind of like,
also when you're at home and you're not tanned and you're just living,
you look like death.
You look like shit.
Yeah.
All of the time, and your family are like, oh my god, like, and it's only when you glow up on show day and then they're like, okay.
And even see you on stage all pumped up and in a lineup with other people that look that hopefully the same. So, and then they're like, see it and they're like, okay, now I also understand. So I support you and I understand that little bit more. So
how was it for you, Loz? With your
Sorry?
family?
With my family? I think that, sorry, my brain function is so bad. Like the leg session's like hitting me more and
post-workout.
But I think I get a lot from my family, and like, even like, you look really skinny, and then it's like, you look really fat. But for like my mum and like my dad in particular, they were quite worried about me, because obviously I've struggled with eating disorders in the past. So when they started to see me get really skinny and obviously like not eating so much, like my mum's like, I do worry about you, but I know you're okay, and I know like that it all makes sense, but I do worry about you, and I understand that, you know. Like I reckon for like my mum to see me get like so lean, it triggers like a little bit of that within her, which is understandable.
Yeah, of course.
But she does get it, and obviously she's seen me gain 40 pounds since my show, so she's all right with it now. And most of like all my friends are pretty much within bodybuilding now as well. So
yeah, I don't really have much contact with people from school, to be honest, just because I don't really have much in common with them. That's the thing. Like I have a few people that I'm so it's a mindset thing. So like if I can still get on with them and they understand like my goals, then that's fine. But
massively,
when someone can't understand why you would do something or like your goals, like I really struggle with that. Which is why we obviously all get on so well with other bodybuilders, because it's such a strong mindset to have. That it's just nice to be able to get along with people who are the same, basically. So.
Yeah, again, I'd actually say I'm quite lucky in the fact that, so I met up with two of my uni mates yesterday, and they are definitely not into bodybuilding like at all. They're into like fitness, you know, keeping fit, etc. But yeah, it's not something that they've ever wanted to even look into. But I went on holiday with them when I was like 2 weeks out from my competition.
What?
Yeah, I went to Budapest with them.
How did you do that?
Mate, I won the competition as well, let's just say that. So I went out, we got an Airbnb, and I went out a couple of hours earlier than they did, because we all live at completely different parts of the UK, right? So we were all going from different airports. So I went out a couple of hours earlier. I found like a Aldi rip-off kind of thing, got all my food ready for the next 4 days. I went back to the Airbnb, I cooked it all up before they even got there. I went and found a gym before they even got there, and they just respected me enough to not even question it. So, and that's why they're my fucking best mates, though, you know? And they like, at the end of the day, I got up earlier than they were going to then go do my cardio. And then by the time I got back, they were showered and ready. And then we'd go and enjoy our day. And the whole time I would have my prep food, and they would be eating and drinking. And they would not for a second be like, but why? But why? They would just enjoy their holiday and let me enjoy me watching them eat.
It was funny you say that, actually. I had a message from someone, and they explained that they hadn't been invited to a social occasion because their friends felt that it was perhaps awkward to invite them, because they thought that they'd feel out of place. And I think it's really hard for other people to understand what actually we want, because some of us, we're very like, no, I'm on prep now, I don't want to socialize. Whereas some people, like Hannah, for example, you know, you went on chuffing holiday 2 weeks out. For me, that's my worst nightmare, because that would make me very stressed, and that would make my physique look awful, because I'm like a little puffer ball when I get stressed.
In all honesty, you've got to think, right, this was May 2019. I didn't know anything about bodybuilding until like April. So for me, because I started my first prep 6 weeks out. So like for me, so we've already touched on this on our last episode. But yeah, for me, I didn't know anything about bodybuilding. So the fact that I was still going to the gym and I was still doing my cardio, like that was good enough for me. I was still fucking working hard, don't get me wrong. I made sure I nailed absolutely everything. I did not deviate from my plan, you know. But for this prep, I would not be able to go away 2 weeks out, like 100% would not be able to. But I think obviously it was more, the aspect of the fact that they would be
having that support.
Because I would still want to be invited anywhere regardless. Like for me, I still would carry on throughout prep, going to social occasions. I understand people that want to kind of just cut that off, because it's hard to say no. It is mentally exhausting to constantly say no, and I don't think that's something that people take into consideration. But for me, it does outweigh like having to spend time with my friends and things. I still want to have that in place, but it's such a difficult avenue to go down, because they do sometimes feel uncomfortable, like, am I allowed to eat this in front of you? It's like, I want to sniff it. Can I just watch you? So
I think that having just that support on prep, you know, people being accepting of your habits and not changing theirs, not being like, oh, you're on prep, so I'm not going to drink. It's like, no, like, you do what you want. I will stick to my plan. You do what you want. You have fun. And like, I hate to feel like I'm influencing someone because of my decisions,
like ruining someone else's fun for your, because this is all our choice. So it's like, and you know what upsets me the most is when people are like, oh, but you're not allowed this, are you? And it's like, I'm allowed whatever I want, but I'm choosing not to, because I want to follow this plan. And I think people really struggle to find, like, to understand that difference, that I can actually, if I want to, I can fucking eat 20,000 calories today. However, I don't want to. I want to stick to my plan.
It's a choice.
It is a choice.
Anyway, I actually think this has been a really good convo, but we've been talking for quite a long time, actually. So I think it's a good place to leave it if everyone else is good with that. But I just want to say a massive thank you to Ali for coming on today. It's actually been so nice to chat. I think it's been like just a nice conversation between us all. We're all very like-minded. So anytime.
No, thank you, Ali. Honestly,
that's my first ever podcast. So
and you're our first guest.
Wowzers! There we go.
Win-win.
Pop the cherries everywhere.
But as always as well, we want to say a huge thank you to everyone for listening, and we will be back again next week.